Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. A few days ago, Gamesradar had a chance to talk to some of the lead designers and developers of GTA Online, and they shared some of their thought process behind the development of GTA Online updates, as well as what we can expect in the game going forward. And I thought this was interesting because it's not every day you see a dev from Rockstar actually come out and talk about the game they're making and the content they're developing. So I'll be going over what they have to say and giving my thoughts about it. So let's get started. And I'll of course have a link to this article down in the description as well if you want to take a look at it. GTA Online design director couldn't have ever dreamed it'd still be going 10 years on. And I think pretty much the entire GTA community can share that sentiment. Not many games can pull off such a feat, and it's just shocking that it is still going on after so many years. The lead design director, Scott Bouchard, has said that the feedback from the game's passionate community is central to the design team's decision-making when introducing new features. Certainly, we want to make sure GTA Online updates are free and accessible to everyone so that our entire community can experience it together. That still stands today. Looking back at the start, we were pushing GTA Online primarily as a multiplayer experience, whether it was cooperative or competitive. We felt we needed to get players in and have fun playing together in a shared space. As time went on, we realized so much of the experience works better when we provide more potential to enjoy the game on an individual level, and that the core experience can then be changed and improved upon by playing with others. We started to really hit our stride when we began designing heists to be playable with just 1 or 2 players, then building on the original experience with social spaces like the nightclubs or the casino, spaces that could act as connective tissue for our players jumping from experience to experience, either with a crew or solo. Yeah, you can definitely tell there was a change in design philosophy from, say, 2017 to now in terms of mission design for solo players. Back in 2015, 2016, and 2017, you needed 4 players to do heist missions. And a lot of times you need 4 players to do the bigger sell missions with multiple vehicles, like in the MC businesses and the CEO businesses. But now with the most recent DLCs, say like within the past 2 years, there's a big difference. Acid Lab sales, for example, will always give you 1 vehicle so you can do it solo. The Caprico heist was a huge one, but they did kind of butcher that one. It still is pretty good though for solo players, one of the best ways to make money. As for the social spaces, I think they could do a bit more with them still. No one really uses nightclubs or even the music locker added in the Caprico update for social reasons. The casino, I would say, is fine. It's fun to go in there and play poker with your friends from time to time. But I would still like to see something with a bunch of different mini games in one spot to play with others. Like imagine if they had a bowling alley that had bowling, darts, pool, air hockey minigames all in one spot that you could go there just to chill with other players. That would be the ideal social space, having a bunch of minigames in one spot. With the nightclubs, it's just, yeah, you can go there and just drink, and that's all. There's not even a dancing minigame, it's just animations you play. Moving on, the lead designer Chris Bell chimed in, no pun intended. Every update we add gives us a chance to receive player feedback that can help us with new ideas, such as giving our gearheads a world with Los Santos tuners and a space to house their cherished rides with the new 50-car garage on Eclipse Boulevard. As well as consider how we can tweak existing content to improve the overall experience, such as cycling out modes on a regular basis. With there being such a large and varied amount of experiences in GTA Online at this point, there's always that challenge of trying to keep things fresh that's going to appeal both to our veteran audience and any new players that may be playing it as their first bit of gameplay beyond the tutorial. Part of the decision process when coming up with new updates is how they can complement other areas of the game as well as offering something new to engage with. Taking the criminal enterprise as an example from last year, we wanted to expand a number of businesses that have been in the game for years and breathe new life into them, while at the same time provide a strong set of classic missions like Operation Paper Trail for those that like to take on story missions instead of the more business side of things. I can imagine after so many years it would be a challenge to try to create new experiences within GTA Online, and you can definitely tell that a lot of the content is more or less similar to what we have seen in the past with a couple of like improvements or differences. Take the Acid Lab for example, really that entire business could work as an MC business. If you think about it, it works the same way. You buy supplies, wait for them to make product, and then do a sell mission for the final payout. But what makes the Acid Lab unique is that it's mobile inside of a vehicle and that it's solo friendly. It's a solo oriented business, so that kind of differs it from the MC businesses, but really it's kind of the same. See what I mean? I also can appreciate how they're trying to make the contact mission strands a little more exciting too. I mean, compare contact missions of now to contact missions that came with the game back in 2013. Now they do them in sets of missions that tell a small story, and they're trying different things with them. For example, the acid mission where you're flat out high on acid going through the different areas. That was pretty neat. Definitely something different that we haven't experienced. And the final ULP mission too in the missile silo with the sleeping juggernauts, that had some horror elements and just a different vibe than other missions prior. You know, it's not just your typical, hey, go over here, kill a bunch of bad guys, get the package, and bring it back to me. It was different, and I like that. As for making content for new and veteran players, I do think they skew a bit more in the direction of new players with the new content. For example, why are weapon skins being made for Mark 1 weapons if there is a Mark 2 version that mostly everyone is going to have that's played the game a good amount of time? They made a skin recently for the Mark 1 pump shotgun, which to me, as a longtime player, is just entirely useless because I have the Mark 2 pump shotgun. Why would I ever go back to the Mark 1? The Mark 2 is just an objectively better version of it. Now, that might be a small example, but it's still just a wasted opportunity in my opinion. Like, make more skins for the Mark II weapons that more people are going to use. Frankly, there are so many cool ideas and directions we can take, and it's great to still surprise our players and give them something to be excited about. At almost 10 years old, that's a really cool thing to be able to do. The community's contribution to the overall design of the game has only increased over time. Our vision remains, but it's in a beautiful partnership with the community. We still have our plans, but they're less hard locked in than they once were to allow for this external input. We are always working to balance things in a way that makes sense for every player and playstyle, so that there's always something for everyone to have fun doing. Coming from the lead director, I'm glad that they are now taking into account community feedback more so than ever. However, I feel there needs to be something said about how they go about interacting with the community. If they really are taking into account feedback from us, I would like to hear about it. I want to hear about what you're thinking about implementing and getting a reaction directly from the community. Rockstar are still so silent about everything to this day, which for new games that you want to keep a surprise, I guess is fine, but when you have a live service ongoing game where you say you have a beautiful partnership with the community in direct quotes in curating content, then talk to us more. Or even when it comes to changing things like the Kyapriko heist, give us your reasoning for making the recent guard changes because it seems to go against what you're saying here. Like about the entire Kyapriko nerf in general, if they had just come out earlier and said, guys, we know everyone likes the Kyapriko heist, it's a very good way to make money solo, and it's a very good way to make money in the game, just in general. However, we are going to be changing this because we've noticed a lot of people are only doing the Kyapriko heist, so we want to try to incentivize people to do other content within the game. We feel that it's healthy for the entire game as a whole, for there not to be just one way of making money that people will only want to do. That's all they would have to do. Be honest with us. If they just flat out came out and said that, I feel like people would respect them a lot more. More communication would go a long way for GTA Online. The lead designer for GTA Online, Chris Bell, then adds on, we identify and consider so much player feedback, and we are always looking at ways to implement community requests as we continue to create new updates. Sometimes, however, what feels like the simplest of fixes can be the most challenging to implement, so it might take some time for the community's desired changes to make their way into the game. And hopefully the recent improvements to the game have shown that we are working to address the community's requests as we move from update to update. And I'm really hoping he's referring to one big thing, the orbital cannon. Just remove that shit stain from the game. It does not belong. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm being harsh with what I'm about to say here. I understand that with a game as old as GTA Online with so much code, trying to change things can unintentionally break another thing. But the Oppressor Mark II was complained about for years, and only just last year in the summer update of 2022, it was finally nerfed. A vehicle that came out in 2018, it took 4 years for them to even mention the problem of the Oppressor Mark II and to then address it. That should not happen. Even I was able to make a balanced Oppressor Mark II in like a week's time. And the orbital cannon, like I was mentioning earlier, it's been exploited for even more time than the Oppressor Mark II has since 2017. And that still has yet to be addressed at all or even mentioned as a problem. They'll fix glitches with it, but the entire thing is just exploited to death and needs a complete rework at the very least and removal at the very best. And this is where talking with the community would be much appreciated. Even a simple poll on Twitter asking people, hey, do you guys think the orbital cannon is good, or should we change or remove it? Or what are some things you'd like to see changed in GTA Online? I guarantee the poll would be like a 90-10 split for people in favor of removing it. Again, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole when I say this, but some things should not take so long to implement for $1 billion studio for their main live service game. Or if something is rather challenging to implement, then tell us about it. Say, hey, we hear you guys, we know it's an issue, we're trying to work on a fix for it. It's taking a little bit longer than we anticipated, but we hear you. We then get a slight tease of a Halloween event coming this year in 2023 when they discussed community events. It doesn't always have to come from something large scale like Alien Wars or Sprunk vs. E. Cola either. We take inspiration from comments on forums or videos and screenshots players have taken of things they've done in-game. There's a fun example of this that's coming for this year's Halloween event that makes me laugh every time, and I can't wait to see how players react to it. The limited time events have been getting much better in quality, especially the Halloween event with the UFOs and stuff. They have improved that drastically. Although, the system for gifting rewards for the events needs a major improvement because it just does not work half the time, which kills the fun. And to close up, Bachard says, it's super important to us that players find new ways to connect with each other, whether through events we create or by us providing the tools for them to create their own moments. We've got a bunch of ideas in the works right now, all the way up until the holidays at the end of the year, so please stay tuned. Could this be hinting at even more improvements to the Rockstar creator? I personally would like to see an adversary mode creator. Let us create our own variations of sumo or really any of the adversary modes in the game right now. And then what Rockstar can do is pick the best creations of those adversary modes to officially add to the playlists. The community makes some of the best maps and modes, and that would be a huge amount of UGC that Rockstar can then highlight, and it would bring so much more variation to the current modes. Even just with the last set of improvements to the creator, allowing you to adjust weapon damage, movement speed, it's made for some really great creations that I've had lots of fun playing. And I would definitely be down to see more of that. As for my final thoughts, I really wish Rockstar would be this vocal with the actual community. We always get these interviews from third parties asking super easy questions. Why not just turn this entire thing into a newswire discussing all of this straight from the designers and post it to the newswire? Or take questions from your own community from your 15 million follower Twitter account to ask the developers to then post a newswire with a Q&A instead of IGN or some other source doing it. They used to do these things like 10 years ago. They used to have replies on their newswire that people could comment, and they would actually respond to some of the comments. I feel like that would be way more impactful for giving back to the community as opposed to this method. Anyways, that is going to wrap up this video. Let me know what you guys think of all this in the comments, and do you wish Rockstar would communicate more via their official newswire rather than these interviews from, say, IGN or Gamesradar in this case? If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.